Here's a step-by-step procedure on calibrating your monitors. I want to point out to you that this is something you can do if you've never done it before. But the more and more experience you get as you mix, you'll find that what I'm showing you is a bit like putting training wheels on a bike. But in order to ride that bike successfully, it takes training wheels. So this is not something that, everyone has to do and recheck again and make sure everything's calibrated. This is a procedure that will help you in mixing at a proper level and in a way that you can compare commercial recordings to your mix so that you can actually succeed in music licensing. So here we go. A step-by-step procedure on calibrating your monitors. 1. Get an SPL, sound pressure level meter. That measures decibels, how loud things are. You don't have to get an expensive one. There are excellent phone app SPL meters. In fact, here's one I downloaded for $9.99. And some are free. 2. Turn your monitor speakers all the way down. 3. Insert a pink noise generator plugin into one track. Make sure there are no other plugins anywhere on the signal path from your pink noise generator all the way to the main stereo bus out. 4. Activate the pink noise generator. 5. Slowly start to raise the volume of the pink noise generator plugin. 6. When the main stereo bus out meter shows an average of 0 decibels, because it'll bounce around a little bit, set the pink noise volume right there. 7. Place your SPL meter where your head would be positioned while listening to mixes. Hold the meter at arm's length away from your body, because the body can affect the signal or dampen the signal coming into the meter. Now, 8. If your room is small, like 12 foot by 12 foot or smaller, like a bedroom or something, and mine is, I have a small room that I work in at home, hold your SPL meter right up to one of your monitor speakers rather than at the point where your head would be positioned. 9. Make sure only one of your monitors is on. Turn the other one off and hold the SPL meter in one hand next to the speaker that is on and put your other hand on the volume control of your monitors. 10. Now, with the pink noise generator activated, slowly bring up the volume of your monitors. You'll be able to hear the pink noise get louder and louder until you see 85 decibels on the SPL meter. 11. Leave your monitor volume control right there. 12. Turn off the pink noise generator. Now 13. Now, mark the volume control knob on your speakers with a marker or piece of tape. That is the volume level of your studio, which will give you optimum listening accuracy. And 14. Get familiar with several of your favorite produced tracks at that volume level. 15. If you gain stage properly, which means to manage the volume of all the faders in your mix so that no distortion is taking place and the mix sounds good. So if you gain stage properly and if you mix with the main stereo bus out level about halfway up the meter, you'll actually be listening to a mix level that's below 75 to 85 decibels, which is a good thing. So when I'm mixing, I'm actually listening usually below this 75 to 85 decibels, and where the calibration and the 75 to 85 decibels comes into play is more when I'm mastering, because those are louder levels. One of the main takeaways I'd like you to gain from this course is how you can raise your confidence when you're exposed to the truth about music production. When a person is not exposed to the truth, mixing can be a stressful, confidence-draining process. And I don't want that for you. Gain staging is a great case in point. You've just learned how to calibrate your monitors and how to gain stage. In other words, how to manage your volume levels on your individual tracks, and even more importantly, how to manage your volume levels on your stereo bus out. Many times this is taught by watching meters very closely, and by watching numbers very closely, and by watching red lights very closely. This is counterproductive to good mixing and can actually sabotage the soul out of a mix. It puts your attention on visual things, on things other than the whole reason we are doing this at all, the music. Here's the truth about gain staging. The numbers and levels are all way less important than understanding this simple truth. You need to listen to your mix to gain stage properly. You only need to look at your stereo bus out once in a while to make sure it's not spilling up over into the red. Since this course again is called Music Production Fundamentals, watch how the mental sport of mixing plays out with gain staging. Picture your stereo bus out level as if it were a glass of water. You can see it sloshing around as the song plays. Now, if I told you to take some water in a glass and drive it to my studio without spilling a drop over the top of the glass, let's compare spilling to the red clipping light on your stereo bus out and audible distortion. And I told you that there was no lid to stop it from spilling. A limiter overused is like a lid. It can sabotage the mastering process, though, where everything sounds squashed, like kick drum hits and snare drum hits, and can cause the music to sound lifeless. So in our example, no lid. Then the only answer is to not fill the glass so high. Otherwise, while we're driving, we'd be so careful, so stressed, and have so much attention on that water in that glass that we'd probably get into an accident. That's how many people mix. That's why I tell you to keep your stereo bus out level averaging about halfway up the meter and no more. The exact numbers are not important. This is all about your mental state of being, how you feel, your mood. If you keep it halfway up, you're relaxed. You get more done. Picture yourself driving with that same glass, but it's only filled up about halfway. Not so much stress now while driving. You wouldn't have to be so careful, and you wouldn't have to keep your eyes on the glass, and you could just drive and not worry as much. And your driving would probably go much smoother and result in no accidents. And that's how pros mix. Now, some people overuse limiters as a lid to keep the glass from spilling. But that can affect the mastering process in a bad way. A little bit of limiting is okay, but even with a limiter, it's still best musically to keep your level about halfway up. Some people are also taught that if you don't keep the stereo bus out level as close to clipping as possible without clipping, that the quality of your mix will sound better because that's how computers and DAWs are built. Sorry, but the opposite is true. If you keep your stereo bus out level further away from clipping, it will sound great with no distortion, no worries, no stress. And the bottom line is that you can keep your attention on listening to your mix. And now, an important secret that not many people know about mixing. With most digital audio workstations like Pro Tools, Cubase, Logic, Ableton, Reason, etc., the individual faders on the individual tracks use something called floating point technology. Without getting too technical here, what it means is this. It means that on individual faders, now this is not true of the stereo bus out. The stereo bus out has no floating point technology. But with the individual tracks, the red clipping light can light up red without audible clipping occurring, with no distortion. That's right, it's like having a magic glass that water won't spill out of. On the other hand, once you start putting plugins on any individual track, you might get audible distortion without the red light clipping. Moral of the story? Use your ears when mixing. Repeat, use your ears when mixing. The only item you should keep an eye on, and you won't need to do this very often if you do it right, is the stereo bus out meter. Keep your level about halfway up that meter. The red clipping light on the stereo bus out is different than the red clipping light on individual tracks. On the stereo bus out, you will more likely hear audible distortion when the red clipping light is on. Watch and listen to this example. the common denominator of all great mixing engineers who create consistent, high-quality recordings. They listen to their mix. They don't look at their mix. And they do so without worry, stress, or uncertainty. There's also something called the McGurk effect. MC capital G-U-R-K, the McGurk effect. Look it up on YouTube and you'll see that if you watch your mix, it can create another mental illusion that can actually make your mix sound different than it actually is to your ears. Even knowing about this sonic illusion, called the McGurk effect, does not cancel the illusion out. The mental reaction of the McGurk effect is unstoppable, even if you know all about it, until you stop watching your mixes and start listening. More than 70% of the time, I listen to my mix with my eyes closed. All right, let's take what we just learned and let's apply it to drums and percussion, and let's take a look inside of the mix. Here we're listening to the drums within the full mix, so we're hearing it in context. This is a obviously live drum mix, and by yours truly, by the way. Thank you. Okay, we're going to break this down.